to Sugar Coated. I'm your host, Adrienne Garland, the CEO and founder of She Leads Media. For far too long, women have been conditioned to sugarcoat their words, their actions, and the way they show up in the world, and to conform to certain cultural norms and ideals. This is inherently designed to keep those who are outside of the norm from gaining power, prestige, wealth, and influence, preventing more women from being recognized and respected as the powerful leaders that we truly are. Join me each week as we dive into raw conversations with remarkable, uncompromising, and inspirational women that will encourage you to strip away your sugarcoating and move boldly in the direction of your magnificent dreams. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the She Leads podcast. I'm so excited to introduce my next guest to you. Her name is Guildner, and she is in direct alignment with everything that She Leads Media does, what it stands for, and just in alignment on all facets. So Guildner believes women's voices matter, and so do we. Cammie's a connector, a storyteller, and a business coach for high-vibe women entrepreneurs, helping them to raise up their voice, vision, and visibility for impact and business growth. Cammie helps her clients build businesses they love with more time and wealth prosperity. I just love that so much. She weaves soulful inspiration into mindful business strategies, and the soul plus strategy approach to business helps her clients succeed in business and worldly impact. Cammie's the founder of the Extraordinary Women Ignite Conference and host of the award-winning Extraordinary Women Radio. She's the best-selling author of Firedancer, Your Spiral Journey to a Life of Passion and Purpose, and was named to the 2020 25 Most Powerful Women in Business list by the Colorado Women's Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to the She Leads podcast, Cammie.
Oh, thank you so much, Adrienne. I'm thrilled to be here. And I agree. We have a lot of alignments. I was looking at your website and I'm like, oh, we're so aligned.
We are so aligned. We are so, I think, alike, right? We both host conferences for women. We both are committed and dedicated to women and women entrepreneurs. And from my perspective, I believe that entrepreneurship is sort of the anecdote to corporate America, right? Like, we need to start and grow successful, profitable businesses. And we also need to get those businesses and what we do and the impact that we're trying to make out into the world. So you do so much, Cammie. Take us back to how did you even get into this world in the first place?
Yeah. Well, I was in the corporate world for many, many years. I was a VP of marketing and branding, global organization, had 90 people actually reporting up into me at one point. So it was a large organization. And so, I've been doing marketing and branding and thought leadership for a really long time. But 15 years ago, and actually it'll be 16 years this year, I got laid off. So always my best gift that I got laid off.
Yep.
And it was the year 2008. So even my second best gift was that year when there wasn't a lot of VP of marketing jobs to be found that year.
Yeah.
And so that opened up my pathway to, it definitely didn't just, pull the handle and then I launched a business. I really thought I would go back to the corporate world for quite a while. And I was doing a lot of inner work. And that's why the whole soul side of my work is so important, because that's where we really tap into our inner wisdom, and we get guided if we tune in like that. And so within about a year and a half, I discovered I was going to become a coach. Found that, opened the door into being a coach. Initially, I was working with corporate or executive women who were really exploring their next chapter. And that quickly shifted over into doing business coaching, because all of my women that were I was coaching in the executive world were like, I want some of what she's having. And they made the leap themselves into being entrepreneurs. And it was like, let's just take this deep work that we're doing and pull that right into your business. And what I found was when they were building their business from the inside out, like, what their biggest dreams and desires were and who they were as a person, who they were at their very essence, building a brand, building a business that way for impact. It just becomes divinely guided, right? It's just the doors open up and, the universe shows up for people when we do that. So that's been my journey. As you mentioned, I weaved together the strategy and the soul, but I think that's a really intricate part of my work because it takes both sides.
This is so interesting. And I talk about this a lot. The fact that when women start businesses, we look to models of success, right? It's great.
Yeah.
But a lot of the successful business models have been developed for and by men. And
absolutely.
So what happens is women try to build these businesses that are for men, right? Built by and for men. And then we wonder, why can't we, get past $1 million?
Why isn't it working?
Why doesn't it work?
Right.
And it's so interesting because it goes back to, like, even when women entered, the work environment, first we tried to look and act like the guys to be successful.
Totally.
Right. And I feel like the same thing happens when we're launching our own businesses in entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, when women, try to launch things that they're passionate about, oftentimes it goes into the world of nonprofit. So where is that space where women can do the work that you help them to do with going inside in order to create something that is also going to have that profitability element to it? Because that is sort of the only way that I truly feel that women can then have the power that we need so that we can make positive change.
Yeah. Oh, I so agree with everything you've just said there. And I think, I think we're seeing a big shift in that. And I think definitely, when I came into this world, so it's been 14 years now that I've come into the entrepreneurial space. There was a lot of, kind of bro marketing, it's the approach, right? It's like, it's the hustle, it's the drive, and what I'm seeing happening now is so many more women really, and women leaders. And I want to emphasize, I see this around me all over the place where women leaders are wanting to build businesses in a different way.
Yeah.
And we have some wonderful gifts to be able to tap into. We are natural connectors. We love to gather and circle, right? We know how to support one another. We know how to collaborate with one another. So it's not necessarily the competition that's driving things, but it's more, how do we collaborate together? How do we come together and be stronger together? So that's one way that I think that women build businesses differently. I think that our natural ability to build relationships changes how we do marketing. So relationships becomes a center of our marketing and how we're building relationships. And, we can turn around and we can apply strategy right back at it. I mean, I will, for example, I will bring a marketing funnel into conversations with my clients, and I'll say, let's start at the bottom of that funnel where those relationships are, because you've already got people in your community right now that know, love, and trust you. And let's work with that community, and then let's start building up the strategy. So, I mean, you have to do both sides of it. But I think we're shifting up how we do marketing. The other piece of that is that I think some of the old ways of doing marketing was really around, find that pain and rub salt in the wound. And I think we can change that up, right? And we've all seen some really just ugly marketing that way. We can change that up because we're here to uplift the women in our communities. And we don't need to, there's enough mind trash that goes on in, every woman's mind. And it's let's not pull them down by rubbing salt in a wound, but let's help them see more possibilities than they can see for themselves. So really changing up how we're doing marketing. We have to understand the pain. We have to understand the challenges and meet them, but we don't have to rub the salt in the wound you're building relationships, you're building connections, you're showing up more organically and naturally in your messaging in the light of who you are. And that is what attracts people into your business versus having to like pursue.
And
So there's a
scare people.
shift happening.
Yeah.
There's a shift happening. And it's exciting to me that this shift is happening. And I think it will change how business is done forever.
I agree. I mean, I definitely see the shift happening. I definitely agree that women have these incredible, just innate skills that can translate into, doing business better. We consider humanity more when a woman, earns $1, she puts it into her community so that, everybody benefits and everything. It's so incredible. And I think the ultimate challenge there is how do we do all of that and get to a profitable business model?
Yeah. And that's where it's really, to me, I look at, one of the things I talk a lot about is the pillars of prosperity. So the pillars of prosperity are vision. So the vision of where you want your business to be, the impact that you have, but also the vision you have for your life.
Yeah.
And in looking at that, what's the business model? What's the right packaging? What's the right pricing that helps you build the business you desire? And so there's a lot of focus in on that. It's like, how do you really focus in on your ideal client? Focus on, how you're helping your clients how you're helping your clients in that customer journey to you.
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest things you're helping them solve? And so if you're getting into that, building an offering that meets that client where they're at, and it's solving a high value problem.
Yeah.
That's where you're like, okay, I have what helps you solve this issue that you have.
Yes.
But it's also you've really listened and you've built exactly what they need at that space. And so you've built that offer that has a dollar amount, the high value dollar amount, so that it's, you're not wearing yourself thin. You're really simplifying into this one ideal client. And this is not beginning marketing kind of work, right? This is actually deep insights into who your customers are.
Yeah. So
the vision part is really it's the right packaging, pricing. It's the right vision of what you want your business to be. So that's the first pillar of pillars of prosperity. The second one is the voice. And that's where we get into a lot of the customer journey work of what is it that your client is thinking about right now and how are you solving that issue? So there's how you speak your client's love language. It's about building your brand from the inside out. And it's also about building thought leadership so that you stand out amongst the noise. So really the voice is the big part of, it's the second pillar.
Yeah.
And then the third pillar is visibility. You have the first two in place. How are you getting visible? How is your voice getting out to the world? How are you being seen and heard? And that's where you bring those three pillars together. And that's where the prosperity comes together. And you can look at businesses. I mean, I've been doing this long enough that I can look at a business and go, okay, let's look at these three pillars and which one needs a little bit of work on it. Sometimes it's just the smallest tweak.
Yeah.
But when you're working with a business and you're looking at these three pillars, if it's not, driving, the profitability isn't coming out, there's clues in those three pillars to really analyze what will shift that business upward.
What do you think are some of the things that actually are getting in the way? Because it's all very sound, what you just discussed, right? It's about understanding your customer, their pain points, where they are in the journey, what's valuable to them, and then, talking to them in their language, and then being vocal and visible and getting yourself out there. And I think so many women are like, I of course.
Yeah.
And then what I've seen is that women then get afraid or they get caught up in, well, I don't know exactly how to do this. So what are some of the things that you work with your clients to sort of get them past that? Because the fundamentals are there. And like I said, they're sound. And I think everybody would probably agree, like, yes, this is what I need to do. But then they go to do it. And something
when
happens.
the rubber hits the road. a couple of things I think that happen is that we are hit with so many marketing messages on any given day. This is how you should be marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So people start going out and they start trying all the things.
God.
And they start trying to serve all the clients.
Mm-hmm.
The complexity grows really easily.
Mm.
And going back to simplification, I think, is number one. And how do we ensure that? But I think the other piece that you're addressing here is it's around the mind games that can happen, right? And it happens for every woman entrepreneur, myself included, on a daily basis. I mean, there's just stuff that comes up.
Yeah.
And we have to get really good at recognizing when those mind games are popping up for us and when they start to pull us down. And when so when I talk about these three pillars, there's one more thing that we really need. And it's really taking care of how we resonate. Because our mind can get in the way, we might not feel good in our body one day. It's like we might get disconnected from our purpose.
Yeah.
There's all these things that can happen. And it's like having practices, having community that helps you stay in that taking care of yourself, holistically taking care of yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, your community, all of these pieces. How do we holistically take care of ourselves on a day-to-day basis? And the practices we put into place that allows us to say, that noise that I'm hearing over here isn't for me to pay attention to right now because I am focused here.
Yeah.
I've simplified, I'm focused, and I'm always saying simplify, 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 simplify.
Yeah.
The more we can simplify our businesses and not listen to all the noise that is around us, the more we can, really we need to trust ourselves through this as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it.
So do you see a difference with male entrepreneurs? Because, so much of what you're saying, I'm sure male entrepreneurs would say, yeah, that works for me as well. But I feel like when we're talking about women entrepreneurs, there is a greater connection between who we are and how we take care of ourselves and the health of our business. And I don't know that it's not that it's not important, but I don't know if it affects male businesses as much. And I'm only saying this, I don't have any evidence, no research. It's just my gut feeling. So what do you think the difference is there? Why do women need to be, healthy and aligned and resonate versus a male who just needs maybe money and like some bros to help him out? What's the difference there in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've had some men clients over the years. I always say smart men clients have come to me, but they tend to be very kind of soul aligned who have found me, right? So I can look at some of those clients and know that they felt a connection, that they wanted a deeper connection to how their work created impact. And so they really, I've seen men who really, truly, deeply care about some of the same things that women care about.
Of course. Yeah.
I can see the same kind of mind games and head games that show up for them that, women have. But what I'll say is when it comes to women coming together in circle and leaning into each other, we've been doing this for, hundreds of thousands of years, right? And I often talk about we're in a changing paradigm of business. I just recently heard a woman named Belinda Chu, Chiu, I think is how her last name is spelled. And she said, we're not in a new paradigm. We're actually going back to original ways of being and we're remembering. And I was like, oh my gosh, that was so beautiful. It was such a powerful statement. And when I think about that, it's like, I think we as women have this natural inclination to be able to lean into each other, come together in circle, and we've been doing it a long time. And we forgot how to do it. I can go back to my corporate days, and there was no kumbaya women gathering in circle.
No,
it was not. And so I think it's like we are remembering, and we are coming back to something that is inherent in our beings. And I think that's just super cool.
I think it's super cool too. And I do in so many ways think that women have an advantage. I really do, and
I
I
do too.
believe this like so deeply.
I actually have a slide that says our female advantage.
Oh, it's
And
true. We do.
and part of what that is too is that, and I haven't mentioned it, but it's our light.
Yeah.
We know how we've got an inner fire inside of us. So, my book is Firedancer, and I wrote my book years ago, but it's Firedancer. It's the light inside of us. And we have that.
Yeah.
So if we can turn that light up, and we turn that light up we help each other turn each other's light up. We feed into that. That's how we resonate. That's the power. And so that's the slide that I use in my conferences and teachings is that the female advantage is that we get beyond just being confident and projecting our message, but we actually embody our message.
Oh my gosh, I can't even talk because I agree with all of this so much. And my mind always gets stuck on the, okay, and, how do we then turn that into profit?
Yeah.
Like that's the stuff that the guys are really good at. We are so good. Everything that you're saying, like, yes, we're so good at coming together, helping each other, all of it. But I've seen it. You get together in the community with women, and then you maybe put up an offer, even if it's high value and everything. And then all the questions start. And then how can I get that at a discount? And, how is this going to change my life? I need proof. Like it goes down this crazy path that I've seen it actually at my own conferences when I have had men at the conference, because I always do. There's something about when a man talks that women listen and they gravitate toward him over the women. And I don't like it. And it's frustrating to me because there are 1,000 women that are just as, good, have services that are as good, if not better. And for some reason, there's this pull toward, maybe he knows best. Right.
Interesting. Because I don't see that. I actually don't see a lot of that. And it could be that I don't go to a lot of men's conferences. Somebody sent me a conference today that was very, I was like, that's not my vibe. I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
And when I think about profitability, what I know is if we are in the strategy, if we're building the strategies and we're stepping into it, and we're adding that light and that fire of ourselves in it, the combination of that soul and that strategy work is what really is where the magic comes in with that. And
it amplifies it. If the business model is sound and it works, the light, the fire, it amplifies that.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that.
And there's one other aspect of that. It's the consistency. It's like, you're podcasting every week, right? It's like, I just took the month of December off in podcasting for the first time in 7 years.
Wow.
And I'm like, I can do that.
You can.
I can do that now. But, I have done, it's like the consistency thing. And I think when I talk a lot about time prosperity alongside of wealth prosperity.
Yeah.
And when we build our businesses in a smart way, we're simplifying our business models. We're simplifying, what we offer, who we serve. We're simplifying our marketing in ways that we're only choosing a few ways that we want to build our business on. And we're getting really good at those. That's some of the strategy that we put into place. And it's the consistency of showing up in that and being visible, having that business model there, and being visible. And what I sometimes see is I'll see people go get visible, but they will be missing some of the vision pillar, right? They'll be missing the solid offer that they really need, or they might be off on their messaging. So it takes all three of those. And that's where the profitability comes from a wealth perspective.
Yeah.
And the time perspective comes through by being super focused, setting the boundaries of when am I going to work and when am I not going to work. It's about creating white space for yourself so that you can actually do your big picture thinking and not just be doing your business all day long. You're actually, so that you can work on your business, not in,
Yes.
So it's that sort of thing. And it's like the puzzles, they're the pieces of the puzzle all fit together to bring that profitability.
Yeah. It just makes so much sense. And it's funny. It's like, I think there are so many things that women are so good at. And one of those things is taking care of other people and other
Yes.
people's needs. And what you're saying is that, especially if we're going to have these successful, profitable businesses, some of that nature that is within us, we do need to set aside for the time being. Because I know, even for myself, I was working earlier today, and my son, who's in college, needed to do a resume for, I don't know if it's for a job or a class or whatever, but he, texted me and was like, hey, can you help me like format, my resume? And I was like, sure thing. Put everything else aside. I'm like, what do you need me to do? Like, I will take care of it for you.
And we're so good at that, right?
So good at it. And it's like, I know that I'm helping him, and he, because he's my family, really, truly is my number one priority.
Yeah.
However, I have been recognizing this about myself. Instead of doing it for him, he'd probably be better off, and I'd probably be better off if I guided him to do these things himself so that he learns how to do it.
Yeah.
But that's very difficult for me. It's a life challenge to be less controlling, because I also want to help so much. I just want to see him, get further, faster, and not have to worry about some of these things that I just can do like magic, right? Because been working in corporate, for so long.
Or you could have said, hey, I'd love to help you with that. Let's work on it tonight.
Yeah. Oh,
right. I mean, that's where I think we're really easy to give up our time. Our time is our most valuable asset. And it doesn't have to be all business focused. We get to choose what we want that to look like. But I think that's the word is we get to choose when and where we're making those. And I think I heard somebody say years ago in a TED Talk, they were talking about life balance, that, there's not anything as such thing as life balance, but it's life integration. Yeah. And when we're at one place, let's be very focused on that one place that we're in. And then when we go to another place, let's be very focused on that. So if we're working, let's focus on work. If we're at home, let's focus on home, and not just let it commingle.
Right. Don't let it like mold together, because it gets murky and messy. And then we wonder, like, we're doing all of these things, but we're actually not making any progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And a couple of things that you said, like choice, right? We have a choice. We get to choose. Setting boundaries, right? That helps us to be able to make those choices. And this simplification, along with these other pieces that you discussed, I do think that those are almost like the ingredients for success. Yeah. I think that is just so incredible. So how can people, sort of get to know you, work with you, join your community, get involved? What can they do?
Yeah. So you can go out to my website. It's CamiGuildner.com. So KamiGuildner.com. When you get there, there's a button at the very top that says Get Updates. And I do free trainings every month. So I've got webinars, I've got roundtables, something that I'm doing every single month that are free to attend. And I'm talking about all of these topics that we've been talking about today. So it's ways to go into deeper in any one of these.
And this is so good. I think when you do things like that, you're putting something out there that's of value. And you said it before, you're building trust, and people are getting to know you. And so then when you do have that offer that is of exceptional value, people are more likely to buy from you because they know you.
It's part of the know, love, and trust model, right? It's like, and as I say love, because I truly love my clients that come into my community, and I want that back and forth. So it's, I say no, it's the know, love, and trust. My marketing funnel is called the know, love, and trust funnel.
I love that.
So that is definitely part of that. I run mastermind programs, and we're in the midst of enrolling 2024 masterminds right now. Amazing. I have 2 of them. One is for 6 figures and above, and one is for building those core pillars. But the 6 figures and above is really for, scaling your business to that next level. Mm-hmm. So all of this integrates into the mix of the work that I do.
And your podcast.
My podcast is Extraordinary Women Radio. We'll have to have you over there as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I would love to be a guest.
Yeah.
That is so good. Thank you so much for spending time with me today and just giving such great value to the She Leads podcast audience. I know that there's going to be a lot of takeaways. I definitely have mine, I think, focused on the simplicity and the boundary setting. So I'm going to take those into my business in 2024.
Excellent. I love that. Well, it's been a pleasure meeting you, Adrienne.
You too. Thank you so much, Cami. This is the She Leads Podcast Network.